Sanye Jodong Soge Chonama Chanshu Bado Dani Kansu Shi Dagi Chenso Gebe Sonam Ki Dora Benchi Sangye Dubara Sho Sanye Jodong Soge Chonama Chanshu Bado Dani Kansu Shi Dagi Chenso Gebe Sonam Ki Dora Benchi Sangye Dubara Sho Sanye Jodong Soge Chonama Chanshu Bado Dani Kansu Shi Dagi Chenso Gebe Sonam Ki Dora Benchi Sangye Dubara Sho. I go for refuge and sitting enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, while making meditations to the practice of giving and so forth, there become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and sitting enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, while making meditations to the practice of giving and so forth, there become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and sitting enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, while making meditations to the practice of giving and so forth, there become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Kadava Hetum Pesham Tathagato Yavata Pesham Chayo Niroda Evam Vadi Mahashravanaye Swaha. Yesterday we were talking about the four essentials to establish emptiness, and then we also just quickly mentioned about the establishing emptiness by rejecting the seven modes, or the reasoning of the rejection of seven modes to establish emptiness. And before we go through these reasonings, I'd like to share with you about the concept of clear light. What we said is that we have the Buddha nature. So this Buddha nature that we have, it is so pure, and it has a potential of perfect wisdom, infinite wisdom, infinite compassion, and infinite power. It's for this reason that oftentimes the three bodhisattvas, they are depicted as very important. In Tibetan we call them as the Risun Gumbo, the three protectors, the three family protectors, meaning the wisdom, compassion, and the power. The Buddha, the Adamajishri depicted as the wisdom, Adamajishvara depicted as compassion, and Adamajivani depicted as power. And for your information, these three figures, these three beings, in the sutra system, they are treated as bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas of the 10 bhumis, and in the tantra system, these three are referred. Not only these three, all these eight great bodhisattvas are all referred to as the Buddhas. They are seen as Buddhas, whereas in the sutra system, they are seen as
Bodhisattvas. In actuality, they are Buddhas. They are Buddhas, and they to help the beings who are more suited for the sutra system. And they manifest. These Buddhas manifest in the form of Bodhisattvas, in the form of the Buddha's prime, the prime disciples. The Buddha's qualities, and some of you may be wondering as to how many Aravadutishvaras are there, how many Aramajishras are there, how many Vajrapanis are there. Some of you may be wondering, some of you may, what's this question? There's only one Aravadutishvara, Aramajishra. No. The reality is that there are innumerable Aravadutishvaras, there are innumerable Aramajishris. For example, each individual, any sentient being, anybody, like each one of us, when we become Buddha, your wisdom will manifest in the form of Aramajishri, and your compassion will manifest in the form of Aramajishvara, and the power will manifest in the form of Aravajrapani, which means that just as there are millions of Buddhas, millions of trillions, the infinite number of Buddhas, the infinite number of Aramajishris, and infinite number of Aravadutishvara, and an infinite number of Aravajrapani. And then the Buddha of the swift deeds, the Buddha of swift deeds is Aratara. So when you become Buddha, the swiftness of your deeds will be manifested in the form of Aratara. So this is who we are, the true nature. Within us, we have in other words, within us, we have the seed of perfect knowledge, perfect power, and the perfect love. So that's the purity. That purity, at the moment we don't see that. So what happens is that this purity, similitude of this purity comes out once in a while, which is referred to as the clear light, nature of the mind. At the moment we see that the mind is so murky. For example, you think of some concepts like empty and so forth, our mind gets entangled, and even we cannot articulate what we like to share, what we like to speak. We cannot articulate what is in their thoughts. So this is the murkiness of mind. But this is not your true nature. The true nature of the mind is so pure, also referred to as the clear light. Now, from what we learned earlier of the 5 points, how our mind behaves. Our mind behaves is directed by the intention. Of the 5 mental factors, the intention decides how our mind behaves. And what intention is going to be like, how it behaves is determined by the intention, and what the intention is going to be determined by the feelings. What the feeling is going to be decided by the discrimination. Okay, so these 3 things are so important, and the discrimination, of course, with the attention and the contact. That's fine. And so these 3 things play a very important role. So how the mind feels. So we see that this mind, how the mind becomes very blurry, very murky, is determined by the murky intention. Murky intention because of the very unpleasant feeling, and then because of the unclear recognition, unclear discrimination. So this is what makes our mind very murky. But the true nature of mind is clear light. So as we remove the mental defilements, the true nature of mind manifests more and more clearly. So on the one hand, we can speak about the true nature of mind to be the nature of the clear light, and on the other hand, we can speak about how to remove the mental defilements, or how to resort to the remedies so that the mental defilements will be cleansed completely. So there are 2 ways: remove the mental defilements, and the true nature of your mind becomes manifest. This is one thing. Number 2 is identify the true nature of the mind, and the mental defilements will be removed. Do you sense it? Do you see the nuance here? So there are 2 ways of looking at it. remove the mental defilements, and the true nature of your mind will become manifest. The clear light will manifest. One. Number two, identify the true nature of your mind, and the mental defilements will be removed. You're getting it? Okay. So let's put it like this. Thus far, what we have been tackling is, let's say, remove the mental defilements, the very disturbing waves of the material karmas, remove them, and then remove the bubbles inside, the afflictions, gross afflictions, remove them, then the tiny sand particles, the inappropriate, remove them, and the purity will come out. This is how we look at things from remove the mental defilements and let the true nature of the clear light comes out. This is one way of looking at things, how to proceed through the path. Another way is by activating the clear light and the mental defilements are settled. Two ways. So now let's see how to see the clear light, and this how it seeing, recognizing, activating this clear light and the mental defilements are subsided. Say, your mind, our mind, one, the true nature is so pure, but at the moment it is so murky and disturbed. Now, how to make it go back to its true nature is by knowing that our mind starts to behave or react when it meets with the object. Do you agree with me? You will see the beautiful sunshine, you are very happy, early morning, very cold, you don't want to get up. You're getting it? So external factors, they affect our mind. So in other words, our mind comes in contact with external factors, objects, then our mind is affected. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So there, what happens is that as the object is grosser, the mind becomes grosser. As the object is grosser, the mind becomes grosser. As the object becomes subtler, the mind becomes subtler. This is one phenomenon. Don't forget it. Object, depending on how gross, how subtle the object is, that determines the state of one's mind. One way of determining the state of the mind. Another way of determining the state of mind is the subject itself. The example that I gave you last time. Say, even though you may like the flower so much, but when you heard a very sad news, loss of your near and dear ones, your basic state of your mind becomes very low. With that in mind, when you look at your favorite flower, still it doesn't give you the pleasant feeling, and so does. So the basic state of mind, one is the object, one is the subject. So the object plays a role, how disturbed your mind is, how peaceful your mind is, and your subject also plays a role. They're also subject. That's still the basic state of your mind and the object. Object plays a role, subject plays a role to determine what the state of mind is like. Say we feel depressed, we feel heavy, and we just don't feel like going out. We just don't feel like interacting with other people, or we feel like interacting with other people. We just feel like going out. All these are determined by what your mind is like. So that mind is determined by external factors and the internal factors. So external factors meaning the object and the subject. Okay. So object, if you make the object the subtlest object, then this can greatly contribute to make our mind very subtle. Then you can also work on the mind itself to make the mind, the subject, the subtlest. Subject the subtlest, then it can affect our mind so greatly. Whereas, besides the object and subject, there's no way by which the mind can behave. Mind behaves only by dependence on how the subject represents to the mind, and how the object represents to the mind, and how the subject assumes a state. Only with these two things, then the mind behaves. So for that matter, if it so happens that you can object-wise the subtlest, subject-wise the subtlest, somehow you can activate these two states. If you can activate this is what truly, finally, the whole universe, what we see around, this is nothing but a manifestation of your mind. Okay, so this is a little more philosophical, to be very practical, very easily understandable, is that for you, for each one of us, how your mind behaves, that is the most important thing in this universe. For you, for each one of us. How your mind behaves, that is the most important thing in this universe. Even if the world is full of success, but if your mind is going through downturn, depression, so forth, for you, it makes no sense. The external world makes no sense. Even if the world is going a downturn, but if your mind is so elated with joy, the world does not really matter. So for you, your mind is the most important thing. And don't think that, okay, this is very, what do you call it, the narcissistic. Narcissist meaning that it's always about I, my mind. No. We should be, so we have to make this distinction. Say, self-confidence and the ego should not be mixed. When somebody is talking about self-confidence, he's promoting the ego. No, this is not the point. So we tend to mix these things, concepts up. So the wise people will see that when self-confidence is taught, wise people will say that yes, this is very precious. But the unwise people will see that this is promoting ego. Right? So the point is that we must cut. Anyway, wise people, unwise people, there's no intrinsic wise people, there's no objective existence in unwise people. Even the unwise people can become wise people, only through study, reflection, meditation. So therefore, who wants to become wise people? Raise hands. Who wants to remain as unwise people? Okay, don't remain as unwise people, right? Be wise people. So if you want wise people, you can. Everybody can become a wise people. Wise person, you can become. So how? Study more, reflect more, learn how to be objective in nature, objective in your, say, analysis. Don't be easily affected by your emotions. Don't be carried away by emotions. Learn how to see things very objectively. And learn how to see things objectively and in nuanced form. Nuanced form meaning, when somebody talks about, say, the confidence, keep that this confidence, don't mix that with the ego. When somebody is inflating one's ego, don't say that this is confidence, don't mix this up. So, see things very objectively in a nuanced form. That is very important. For that matter, say the ability to see things in a more subtle form, and finally, if you see the subtlest version of the object, see the subtlest version of the object, that is known as the objective clear light. Subtlest version of the object is known as the objective clear light. In other words, the emptiness nature of the object is the objective clear light. And then you make your subject the subtlest. Subtlest version of the subject is known as subjective clear light. So the object subtlest is the objective clear light, and the subtlest subject is the subjective clear light. Okay, now the question is how to get the subtlest of the objective clear light, and how to get the subtlest of the subject clear light. How to get these two things. For that matter, we have to, we need to first of all know. We need to know what is that subtlest object clear light, what is the subtlest of the subject clear light. and if you can activate these two, then this will take you. That you have seen the true nature of mind. You have seen the true nature of the object. You have seen the true nature of the subject. So let these two merge. Let the subject clear light, see the object clear light. So then, object-wise is the purest, subject-wise is the purest. When the true purest version meets within your mind, then your mind will not be affected by external factors anymore. So that's the point where, say, so this is how we have to proceed through Gate, Gate, Para Samgate, Bodhiswaha. So this mantra recitation which we do so often, this is actually when reciting it and you have the blessings. Okay, this is one thing. Yes, you have you get the blessings. The real blessing is that you are reminded that I should not remain as who I am now. This is the real blessing. But what is blessing? Blessing means that you improve. You get some kind of power, some kind of energy, whatever you may call it, so that you change, you transform. You don't remain as intensely suffering as what we are going through now. Becoming happier. If that is happening, this is really a blessing. For example, if you meet somebody as a teacher, say you have some financial constraint, and you go to the teacher, and they say, okay, don't worry, you recite all money payment home, and you will get $1,000 tomorrow. And tomorrow you get it, you will say, wow, it's a great blessing. What is this blessing? Tell me. Yes, you recite the mantra, and the next day you get this amount of money, and you say that this is a blessing. Why do you call this a blessing? Because you got something which makes your life easy. But this is why you call this a blessing. You did something which makes your life easy. So now, say the Tyatha Om Gate Gate Para Gate. As you recite the Gate Gate Para, you remind yourself, okay, I still remain the same person. But the mantra that I'm reciting says that I should progress. From the first Gate to the second Gate to the Para Gate to the Para Samgate to the Bodhiswaha. But I'm not progressing, right? And then the sense of a little bit of uneasiness comes to you. I should progress. I'm not progressing. So then what happens? You put effort to progress. With the progress, you improve. It makes your life more meaningful. That is the blessing. The real blessing, rather than expecting some kind of sudden change happening, instead of that, a reminder happens to you that I should not remain the same person. Okay, but before attending the Bodhicitta retreat, Kalachakra Center, the 2019, I was like this. Attending the retreat, I became like this. Now it's already 5 years gone. Still I remain the same person. No improvement. No. So, Gate, I always used to recite this mantra, so I should improve. Okay. One improvement. Improvement not with physical body, not with house, not with cars. It's fine, no problem. Even if you improve the car from the ordinary car to the Mercedes-Benz to BMW, I have no problem. I have no complaint. You can do that. But the problem, the thing, what is really required is your mind should improve. There should be transformation happening to your mind. Not only you, me, including me. Not only you. In fact, oftentimes when I recite this mantra, sometimes it gives me a little bit of, a tinge of anxiousness. Not those ones. Anxiousness. Okay, am I really improving? This is so precious. The moment I feel that, am I really improving? And then it gives a little bit of the anxious, make me a little anxious. Then I feel so happy. Because of this recitation mantra, it reminds me. Because of the reminder, then I become anxious. I don't want to remain in this anxious state. So what will I do? I will try to improve. This is the blessing. This is blessing. It's so important. These mantras are not really for for us to expect some miracles happening, and then suddenly you become a great city, you fly in the air. Right? There are stories, many stories like this. Right? Somebody recited the mantra, finally the person started to fly in the air, becomes a great city. These are stories to encourage us, right? But the real blessing is not that. The real blessing is that it reminds you and gives a sense of anxiousness. Anxiousness? What am I doing? Right? I'm wasting my time. If that is happening, this is a blessing. This is a real blessing, because you don't want to stay in this anxious feeling. You want to get out of this. How to get out of this? Not doing the bad thing again, but doing something better. Then you feel that you're doing something better. You feel that I've done something good. Okay, today I meditate on emptiness. Today I meditate on impermanence. Today I meditate on bodhicitta. Then you feel happy. This is what we want. And then mantra says Om Gate. Gate, not just Gate Bodhi Soha. It's Gate, Gate, Paragate, which means that, okay, it's good that you have improved. Good that you have improved, but don't be complacent with this. Don't be complacent with this. Go to the second phase. When you reach the second phase, don't stay there. Go to the third phase. This is incredible blessing. Blessing in the form of a reminder that I should improve all the time. Okay. With this in mind, what we have been studying thus far, and of course we will study more also about what is emptiness, how everything is like dream, how everything exists, nothing really exists from the object, is all just projected by own mind. This study is for us to meet with the objective clear light. Emptiness that we are studying, or the third seal, everything is empty, or the nature of emptiness, selflessness, that is to connect that. That is the objective clear light. Okay. Now the subjective clear light. The subjective clear light, this mind. Objective clear light we have to study so intensely. And for the subjective clear light, to activate the subjective clear light, we need to have a very good study of the psychology. Very good study of psychology. I'm not talking about the Western psychology, I'm talking about the Buddhist psychology. Western psychology is very different. And, okay, just for information. The day I flew from Italy to France, the day I flew on an aeroplane, I met one very young boy next to my seat on the aeroplane. He was just 17 years old. And in the middle of the flight, in the middle of a flight, I was a little, so I did not know really, whether to talk to the person, not to the person. Sometimes talk to the person, it can create problems. So I learned the skill. We went to talk to the person, but not to talk. Okay, I was very serious. He was very serious. He was with a little mobile, and I was by myself. Then I thought that he was Italian. And the air hostess serving the food, then he talked to the air hostess in English. So I was a little, what is this? Is he not Italian? Or the air hostess, they are not Italian? This was my question. Then I asked him, where are you from? He said, I'm Italian. I said, why do you speak in English? And he said that they are French. Okay, so then we started the conversation. And then it was no problem. To converse with him is no problem. So then he asked me, where are you from? So this is how conversation started. Then I saw that he's just 17, very young boy. I asked him, did you finish school? Or you're in college? He said that I'm joining college. And what subject you like to join? Then he talked about philosophy and so forth. Then he also asked me, what are you doing? I said, we're just working in Tibet house. And what do you do there? I teach. What do you teach? Philosophy, psychology. And then he's a philosophy coach, like this. And then he also seemed to have interest in philosophy. Then I told him, so now look, it's for me to make the most of my time with him so that I benefit, he benefit. I asked him, tell me, because the journey is very short. So I have to go to the essence directly. So he talked a lot about philosophy. Then I said, yes, philosophy with science, philosophy must be very open. Open meaning, any questions must be welcome. It's not that confined, only philosophy questions, no questions from other disciplines. If this happens, it's not good philosophy. And he said, but in the Western philosophy is mostly about the Western philosophy doesn't really, this philosophy that we study doesn't really encourage questions from modern science. It's almost about the Christian theology, philosophy coming from the Christianity. This is what he said. Then I said, okay, tell me, what's the purpose of studying philosophy? Then he said that this will make you very knowledgeable. This will make you very knowledgeable, and it can make you, let's say, articulate your questions, articulate your thoughts when you deal with other people. I see, this is the purpose. He said, yes. And tell me, what do you want in your life? What do you want in your life? And the study of philosophy that you're doing, does it have any relevance to what you want in your life? He did not really, he was a little confused. What is asking? Then I said, the day when you were born, did you cry or not? He said, yes. Why did you cry? You cried that the other baby is not getting milk? He said, no. I cried because I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm feeling cold. Okay, this is how we began our life. We are seeking happiness. We are shunning miseries. The philosophy that you study should have relevance to that. If it doesn't have any relevance, it's just exercise, that's it. And as exercise, it doesn't have any relevance to life. Whereas the philosophy should teach us this happiness that we're getting, that sadness that we're getting. It's all because of how your mind works. How your mind works when it interacts with the objects. When you don't know the object well, problems arise. When you don't know your subject well, problems arise. So you have to know the object well. To know the object well, you have to know philosophy. To know the subject well, you have to know the psychology. If you know these two things so well, you will know how to regulate your mind. And you will regulate your mind so productively that all the fears you want to get rid of, you can get it off. The happiness that you want, you can have it. Just tell me, just see what he said. He said that, I never heard this before. It's so meaningful. The study that I'm doing, philosophy, should have relevance to my own well-being. I never heard it before. He said it. And his all even the facial expression changed. He just went into admiration. Wow, it's amazing. Then the flight landed. Then I met his father and his sister also. Sister was 16 years old, he was 17 years old. And I told the father that your father is, your son is very smart, very intelligent. And he said, yes, he's very smart, very intelligent. And I said that we had a very good conversation. The father said that, yes, he already shared with me what discussion we had. He said that he learned a lot. And his sister also came to join us. Was looking at me with such a joy there. She also heard the conversation between her father and the brother. So what I'm saying is that the whole purpose is finally to relate what we're studying with our thought processes so that it has direct relevance to our happiness and to get rid of the suffering. So with that in mind, say the subject, object to make the object the subtlest, the object clear light, we have to understand the emptiness nature of the object. And the subject, to make the subject the subtlest, there are many methods. There are many methods to make the subject the subtler. In fact, one method which is employed in the Sutra system, and which is not only employed by the Buddhists, it was also employed by the non-Buddhists, particularly the classical Indian traditions. spiritual traditions like Vedanta, Sankhya, Mimamsaka, and the Charvaka and so forth. These traditions, they employ this. The meditation to make the subject, the subtlest, to activate the subject clear mind. There are many methods. And from the sutra system, what we vaguely learned last time, very briefly learned last time, the desire realm. What are the three realms? Desire realm, form realm, formless realm. And the form realm are again 4 divisions. First concentration level, second concentration, third, fourth. And formless again, form. What are the four? Formless.
L'espace infini, la conscience infinie, la vacuité et le pic de l'existence.
Okay, very good. Infinite space, infinite consciousness, vacuity, and peak of existence or peak of samsara. 4. Okay, so these, for example, say from the desire realm, the mind of the desire realm, then mind of the form realm, form within the form, first, second, third concentration, fourth concentration level, then go to the formless, the infinite space, infinite consciousness, the vacuity, and the infinite existence, or the peak of existence. So there what is happening is that mind becomes subtler. Mind becomes subtler. Okay. So this system where you practice to make your mind subtler, the mind of the desire realm, then the mind of the first concentration realm, then the second, third, fourth, then the formless realm. So when you make your mind subtler in that form, this is the meditation to work on the mind to make it subtle from the sutra system, which is common to the Buddhist and the non-Buddhist traditions. So this meditation has one flaw. Okay, Albert Einstein, he said one thing. He said one thing. What he said was that the scientists, they make discoveries. Most of them make discoveries before age 40. Right? After age 40, make discoveries and inventions very less. Mostly it happens before 40. But tell me, who's more learned? Age 30 scientists or age 45, age 50 scientists? Who's more learned? Age 50 scientists much more learned. Gathers much more information. But inventions, discoveries are made mostly before 40. This is what he said. So if we draft a graph, if you draw a graph, it is like, say, the one individual who's going to do the science. What is science? Say, the graph is like, okay, time and progress. Time, x-axis, time, y-axis, progress. So the graph goes like this. And then around like 30, 35, before 40 is the peak, then it drops. Right? Information is lost. Information you keep gathering, but the discovery, the sharpness and equity of the mind, dexterity to the mind, that drops after like 40. This is what Albert Einstein says. Likewise, say I'm drawing a graph, say x-axis, which is the time. Okay, let's say not time. Let's say the x-axis is the various meditative concentrations. First, 0 to 1 is desire realm. 1 to 2 is first concentration, third concentration, second, third, fourth concentration. Then the formless realm, infinite space, infinite consciousness, vacuity, and pure existence. Okay, this is x-axis. So from the desire realm, you go to the formless realm. This is x-axis. So y-axis, the clarity of the mind. The clarity of the mind. As you go higher, the clarity increases. So what happens if I do draw the graph? What will the graph like? Right? The same. It goes higher, higher, higher means what happens? What is happening? Higher means clarity of the mind, sharpness. Clarity of mind increases. And along diagonally, not horizontally, not up. If it is up, means the same with the same realm, it going up. Diagonally. Diagonally means as you go from the desire realm to the first realm, first form realm, first concentration realm, second concentration, it's constantly increasing. Then it reaches the fourth concentration realm. Fourth concentration realm. Then from there, then it will drop. The moment it goes into the formless, it drops. The clarity drops. But your meditation becomes subtler. As the mind goes from the desire realm to the peak of existence, the mind becomes subtler. But the y-axis is for clarity, not the subtlety. Clarity of the mind. You getting it? As the mind becomes subtler, initially the clarity increases. Then it reaches the peak. When is the peak? When is the peak? Fourth concentration realm of the form realm. Peak. Then the moment it enters into the formless realm, it drops. It drops what? It drops in subtlety or clarity? It drops in clarity. Subtlety increases, but the clarity drops. In other words, after the fourth concentration realm, then as the mind becomes subtler, the mind becomes more and less clear. The clarity disappears. But for achieving Buddhahood, the mind should be clear or mind should be dull? Clear. You're getting it? This is so important concept. So to achieve Buddhahood, we need the best, the most clear mind. But on the contrary, with this meditation, to make the mind subtler, the mind, at a certain point, it increases in clarity, and then from that point, it decreases in clarity. So this is the sutra system of the meditation, of the single-pointed meditation. Single-pointed meditation, when you reach a certain point, then the clarity drops. Subtlety increases, but the clarity drops. Okay, now the tantric system of making applying the meditation to make it subtler. As the mind becomes subtler, the method employed is such that the mind becomes, as the mind becomes subtler, the mind becomes clearer all the time. It never drops its clarity. Instead, the clarity keeps on increasing. This is the tantric system. But the tantric system, how the people take it so easily. This is a totally being misled. And then recently, I met somebody. And that person said that I'm taking a course. And the course, at a certain point, the course also includes Tantra. For that matter, one is to receive the highest Yoga Tantra empowerment. And the person is not ready. And the person asked me, what should I do? So because that's a part of the course, I cannot intrude. So I said, don't guess. Right? Don't guess, just say what I said. Okay. I cannot intrude. Intrude meaning I cannot poke my nose. I can. Okay. Because it's a part of course. It's a course. Whereas if it is just like, oh, there's somebody giving empowerment, shall I go or not go? I'll say not go. But it's a part of course. It's a part of course, so I cannot say anything. So what I said is, what did the teacher tell you? Then he said something, okay, this I will not share with you. Then I said, okay, so I cannot say anything, right? I'm just a side person. I did not ask the person to join the course, I did not say this. So the person will ask me this question now. I said, okay. Then I told him, did you talk to anybody else? The person said, yes, I talked to the tutor. And then I said, yes, what the tutor said. And said that, and how learned is the tutor? And said that, yes, the tutor is relatively learned, but it's not that very, very, very learned. But the tutor said that if you are not ready, don't do it. The tutor said. I said that your tutor is excellent. Your tutor is excellent. It's amazing. Right? So therefore, the point is that, yes, Tantra has so many benefits. By the way, keep in mind that people can easily abuse Tantra. Easily abuse Tantra. There are so many controversies coming. Right? Don't be so infatuated. So if you think that am I ready for Tantra or not, which means you are not ready. Don't forget it. If you have doubt that am I ready for Tantra or not, you are not. If you are not ready, don't jump. Don't jump. Don't jump. It will kill you. Right? Don't jump. Do this Bodhicitta, wisdom, these things. Even these materials are too much for you in this life. Right? Even these materials, there's so much materials, you can't even complete everything within this life. It's too much. Right? And meanwhile, in your mind, say include that occur. We never know. In this life, who knows? That you will realize emptiness before me. You will generate bodhicitta before me. Who knows? We never know. It's not necessary that the one who receives teaching from somebody, that person will they have to generate bodhicitta later than the teacher. Not necessary. Right? Who knows? You will generate bodhicitta before me. Or before many of the other teachers. Okay. So the point is that once you generate bodhicitta, once you have wisdom of emptiness, then you will get the inner confidence. Inner confidence where no external force can shake your confidence. Otherwise, nowadays it's so easy. Oh, this is the last empowerment, so rare. Everybody's saying like this. If you don't get it, you will not get the next chance. You go there. And then later on, you come across hearing complications. Then your faith is shaken. Faith shaken means you are not at all ready in the first place. So when, say the amount of when are you ready? Really ready is, look at, for example, the story of Geshe Naropa and Geshe Tilopa. Geshe Naropa, he was the top-notch scholar of Nalanda Master, the Nalanda University. Nalanda University, Earthwork Nalanda University, India. Top scholar. And with this enormous amount of learning and reflection and realizing emptiness, then he got some kind of emanations or some indications of the need for him to look for his, say, the past karmically connected teacher. So he went in search of he heard the name Tilopa. He went in search of Tilopa. And finally, to cut the story short, he met Tilopa, and he thought that Tilopa is a very grand teacher. What he saw was just a beggar. He saw a beggar there. Beggar sitting among the other beggars, very naughty, mischievous beggar. Then he asked, are you Tilopa? He was a little apprehensive because he was a prince. Naropa was a prince. And the top-notch scholar of Nalanda University, which is like a brilliant, the storehouse of knowledge. And then, are you Tilopa? Then he said, yes. Are you not Tilopa? He said, no. Okay, then he was assuming, say, the demeanor of little apprehensive, shyness, uneasiness, and he was trying to run away from Naropa. And Naropa was chasing him. Finally, two of them entered a very enclosed area where nobody could see. Then what did Tilopa do? And Naropa, all his life, he learned about compassion, not even hurt an insect, not even hurt the mosquitoes. This is what he learned, he practiced. Suddenly he ended up with somebody who he considered as his teacher, and he grabbed his hand in the water, ocean, the coastal area, grabbed the water, grabbed a fish, and ate it raw. As we will instantly will run away. Say that what a horrible person. Instantly your faith is shaken. Geshe Naro, he did not lose his faith. His faith is so grounded. So such a person is eligible for Tantra. Otherwise not. Simply because, oh, it is high Soka Tantra, we are very fortunate. If you just follow like this, it's a self-destruction. I'm saying this again. Self-destruction. Right? And then see that the Naro is still very stable, grounded. He's still saying they're not giving up. Then only then, Geshe Naro, Geshe Tilopa, then the fish bones, then he put it back in the water. They revived and they went back into the ocean. So that came later. And then say the teacher, at one point, Geshe Naropa was requesting for teachings. Please keep me teaching. Please keep me teaching. And Geshe Tilopa was reluctant to give teachings. Then at one point, the Geshe Tilopa said that, okay, I feel hungry. Then Geshe Naropa was so happy. Okay, sir, I'll go to look for food. Oh, my child, my son, I'm so happy that you have been kind to me. Then Geshe Naropa went to look for food. Both of them are like beggars now. Good food. And finally, the Geshe Naropa, he met with the wedding ceremony. Wedding ceremony where everybody is celebrating and the ample of good food. So he went there, please give me some food. And they are very happy, they give very good food, and that too, huge portion, he took them to his teacher. So that usually what we can divide it between yourself a little bit and give it to Geshe Naro also. No, Tilopa ate everything. Tilopa ate all. And then she said, the food is so good, I wish I have more. Then Geshe Naropa, he became even more happy. Right? Sir, yes, I'll go to get more food for you. He went. This time he came back. Because the people they know that, they already know that he was already given a large portion of food already. So what he did, that he took without asking food. Then people sensed that and they started to beat him. They started to beat Geshe Naropa, who was a grand scholar, like His Holiness the Gandhi Rinpoche of today's time. He was that, but now in the facade of a beggar, he was beaten. And then Geshe Tilopa came there. Geshe Tilopa, why are you beating this guy? Because he is such a shameless person. He already took a lot of food earlier. Now he is grabbing food from us. Oh, that's so bad. Beat him more. Beat him more. So bad. Then they beat him more. Okay, if this happens to you, what will happen to your faith in the Guru? Instantly, okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Look, then you will send him in the post in the newspapers. This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, right? So, and then all the people left after, they have been so satisfied after beating him, they all left. Then Tirupa asked Naru, "Oh my son, what kind of mental state are you going through now?" Then Naru said that, "What mental state? I'm almost dying. I'm dying of pain." Tiru said, "Even this pain is illusionary. Even this pain is illusionary. This pain is what mind is creating. This is illusion." Then Tirupa, he snapped his finger. The pain instantly disappeared. Then the next time, again, Naropa asking for teachings, "Please give me teachings, give me teachings." Again, so reluctant from Tirupa's side. And finally, Tirupa just climbed to one house with 2 or 3 floors. And Naropa was chasing him. "Please give me teachings, sir, please give me teachings." Then Tirupa said, "Are you sure you want teachings?" "Yes." "Can you do anything what I would tell you to do?" He said, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." Then said, jump from this 3rd floor down." So Naropa, "Okay, what's the problem? If I jump, then my teacher will come, he will snap and the pain will go away." Right? He jumped and he was just going through such agonizing pain, and Tirupa never went there. Because he knew his thought. He was jumping not to sacrifice, jumping with the confidence my teacher will come and remove my pain. So he never went there. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, this is the kind of the faith required for somebody who is eligible for highest yoga tantra. If this is not there, today highest yoga tantra, I'm so... And then next day you have disagreement with the teacher, and then you send it on the newspaper. This teacher, this problem, that problem, this problem, so forth. You are not at all qualified. You are not at all qualified for highest yoga tantra. And what the teacher is, I don't know. This is not my business. But you are 100% not qualified. The moment this is the tendency in mind, that, okay, what happens if my teacher slapped me suddenly, right? Then, how dare human rights? No human rights, right? And he did abuse. Oh, finished. You are not really ready for tantra. And if the teacher also slapped you out of anger, the teacher also not qualified to give tantric empowerments. And teachers not qualified, students also not qualified. Right? And both suffer unnecessarily. Suffer terribly, not just suffer in this life, terrible suffering in the future. Okay, so therefore, no hurry to go for tantric empowerments and so forth. So why I'm saying this is in relation to Tantra has incredibly profound methods, but until we are ready, this is not something that we have to jump into. Okay, one of the methods and if you really understand Tantra in its core, you just feel like crying to see the profundity of the experience, to see the profundity of the methods. You just feel like crying. What we understand of Tantra today is not really the Tantra. It's just a superficial part. For example, what we do after the empowerment, then we sit for retreat. What retreat? Reciting the mantras. That's it. Reciting mantras. That's it. This number of mantra of this mantra, this number of mantra of this mantra, and this is finished. This is retreat. And then we do 5 puja. That's it. This is just the surface. This is just the surface. This is not the real Tantra. So how many of you, after sitting for such retreats, you feel like crying? Wow, it's so profound. Even to hear about this, you feel like crying. How many of you had that experience?
the real depth of the Tantra does not, okay, real depth, I'm talking the real depth, does not necessarily involve these mantras, recitation, sitting for retreat. No, just sitting there, gazing the sky, and then doing these methods inside, then very profound experiences come. So, for example, saying recitation mantra is also in sutra system. Mantra recitation is sutra system also. And many of what we identify as Tantra is with the Hindus also. It's the same. So what is so unique of the Buddhist Tantra that makes it particularly which only the very, very, very learned people can understand. What are these features of the Buddhist Tantra? These points, which only the learned people can see the nuances. These points are the uniqueness. Until you have the capacity to know these things. The moment you feel these nuances, then you can control your tears. Only when you feel this, which only the learned people, they sense it, then they just feel like crying. Okay, unless we reach that level, otherwise the rituals, and it's very cozy place, rituals, sacred mantra, puja, okay, that's fine. That's even the Hindus they do. Hindus also have the same thing. What is so distinctive of the Buddhist Tantra? What is so distinctive of the Buddhist Tantra? All these things are like the preparation for the real Tantra. Real Tantra is to do the nuances of the mind, how the mind operates. That part is missing. That part will make sense only if there's a bodhicitta, only if there's a wisdom of emptiness. Without these two, you cannot even touch those areas. You cannot even have the vision of those. For example, say my painting and the painting of Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci. These two paintings, my painting is more colorful. Right? And people, small children, if you show these two paintings to small children like my painting more. Because they don't have the eyes to see the nuances in Michelangelo's paintings. Only the paint experts. Only these people will see the difference. What is this painting? Who's it? Just throw this garbage out. Whereas Michael, wow, who painted this? They have these eyes. So what I'm saying is that there's no hurry. Don't jump there. And you may be wondering, but Tantra is so precious. Yes, of course, precious. Very precious. Right? Say when you are like the babies, right? 1 year old, 2 year old, how you can walk, cha-cha, like you hold their hands and then you say cha-cha, like this. You hold the child, make him help the child to walk. So there, don't try to give him a limousine car, right? Don't put him, okay, to drive a limousine car is fun. Put the chocolate there, the limousine car, and then put in the accelerator, let him drive. Right? You'll destroy the limousine car and also destroy the child. You'll be killed and the limousine car will also destroyed. So therefore, this is what Tantra is. Now, if this is so precious, what should we do? If we are not eligible for that, what should we do? This question. Then the point is, do what you can do. What you actually can do, don't discard this. What you have, do it. What you can, do that. What is that? 4 seals. Bodhicitta. Wisdom and emptiness. Single point of meditation. Do these. And Tantra, you include them in the form of prayers. May I soon see the dawn of Bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness within me, so that I'm prepared for the Tantric practice. Include that in the form of very strong prayer. In future, may I soon see the dawn of Bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness within me. And because of which, may I soon be prepared to embrace this beautiful and the most powerful teaching on the third Tantra. So this is how we have to approach.
Okay?
20 minutes more? Or
No, what's that?
it's supposed to be at 12.
Okay, we have time.
But you could do now, okay.
No, we still have time. First class. Okay. Okay, so with this, about this subject clear light. Subject clear light is about activating this subtle subject, subtle mind, activating the subtle mind. What we learned is, according to Sutra system, as the mind becomes subtler, the mind becomes, okay, what did I say?
Clear.
In the Sutra system, as the mind becomes subtler,
Let's
now mind, initially it increases in the clarity, and at a certain point it drops the clarity. You getting it? At a certain point, then as mind becomes subtler, the mind becomes more dull. This is a problem with Sutra system. But don't worry, it will not for us, don't worry. Right? We will not even, most likely we will not even reach that peak. Don't worry about that part. Right? Okay, I'm sure there's some people who are worrying, oh, Sutra system is a limitation. Don't worry. So, just do, we will not even reach the peak. We are far away from this peak, don't worry. Right? Okay. Whereas in the Tantra system, there are techniques whereby the mind becomes subtler, as the mind becomes subtler, and the mind becomes clearer. These two are directly proportional in Tantra. Directly proportional. Okay, so with this in mind, nowadays there are many teachings. Many teachers they give their teachings. Okay, this is not my business. Finally, up to the individual, there are techniques, very powerful techniques, several techniques of activating the subjective clear light. These techniques taught in Tibet and now in India, so brought from Tibet to India. So it is now taught in India also, and in ancient time. These were not taught in public. These techniques were not taught in public. How to activate the subject clear light is not taught in public, but nowadays it's so publicly taught. And then many people go into problems also. Why it was not publicly taught in Tibet was because there's a danger. But nowadays, people, they say the teachers also, the students also, they're more courageous. They're not worried about the dangers. Right? They jump and then they enter the problem. Yeah, this is what is now commonly happening. Okay, so one practice is known as Mahamudra practice. Another one is known as Dzogchen practice. Still another one is known as the union of the clarity and emptiness. Union of clarity and emptiness. Another practice known as the primordial innate clear light. So these primarily four methods are there. And then one unique thing about the Sri Kalachakra Tantra. From the Sri Kalachakra Tantra, again there's one method. So there are several methods. Most commonly, we can say like about 5 or 6 methods there to activate the subtle clear light, subject clear light. Okay. I personally, in some cases, I do teach. They say how to activate this subject clear light, but teach so that people will not practice this. I teach it so that people will not practice it. Why? Because this teaching has become so prevalent nowadays. Anybody, yeah, I know this practice, and then they see that this is the main practice. This main practice, and they just ignore the Vismanchas, Bodhicitta. Finally, this is a loss on yourself. So to tell the people that this practice is good, this practice is very precious, but Bodhicitta, Vismanchas, these are the fabrics of the minor teaching. Without these two, you can't do anything.
Well, nowadays people are so infatuated with the container and they forgot the contents. Bodhicittas wisdom says these are the contents. And without the food inside, what's the use of the container? And the container is so visible. Container is so visible, and the content of the food you have to prepare, it takes lots of time. So they don't want the content. They simply are fascinated by the container, which is so visible. You make it once, and it's so visibly there. So this is what people are doing. So to tell them that this practice is important, but more important than this is the Bodhicittas emptiness. To tell them that I teach both. Deliberately I teach them, because this practice, unless until somebody is prepared with the Bodhicittas emptiness, and unless until the person has a very sharp and agile, the dexterous way of thinking, this practice cannot be successful. In those days, this practice is taught exclusively in isolation, not in public.
Non, je veux juste dire que sa sainteté donne, par exemple, l'initiation de Kalachakra à un très large public.
For instance, the Lama gives a Kalachakra initiation for very large people.
Yes, His Holiness gives the Geshe Kalachakra teaching. Do you know? Okay, two things. Two things. His Holiness is very smart. And sometimes the audience is smarter than His Holiness. Sometimes the audience is smarter than His Holiness in a negative way. His Holiness is smarter in a positive way. Audience is smarter than His Holiness in a negative way. His Holiness says, yes, Shri Kalachakra empowerment. Right? His Holiness is going to give teaching on the middling stage meditation by Ajahn Kamal. Only few people. Shri Kalachakra empowerment, lakhs and lakhs of people there. So Kalachakra empowerment. Lakhs of people becoming excited. Right? So what His Holiness teaches is Ajahn Kamal's text. Right? As a preliminary teaching, he spent so much of time on that. And Shri Kalachakra teaching is so less. And the most time spent on Ajahn Kamal the middle stage of meditation, which is purely sutra. But the audience, they are smarter. They don't come for this teaching. They come only for the Kalachakra actual content, because they know all these things well. They already hardly realized. So they don't come for that. So His Holiness becomes so desperate. He says that, now what do you do? Now His Holiness says another smart technique. You know the second smart technique? Huh? The second smart technique is amazing. Right? Second smart technique is amazing. Okay, so Kalachakra empowerment is happening. How many people are there? Preliminary teaching, how many people are there? Not even half of the space is filled. Half of the venue is filled. Kalachakra full and people are staying outside. Right? So what His Holiness does is that, okay, His Holiness, Kalachakra empowerment. Within that again there are preliminary part. That he emphasizes so much in Bodhicittas, wisdom emptiness and so forth. Then the actual empowerment comes. Empowerment comes. So there, immediately before the actual empowerment, there are so many the threat protection, threat distribution. Then what? The kusha grass distribution. Then the blessed water distribution. Then finally talk distribution. All these are there, right? Okay, so when these things are done, and people say, I don't get this, I don't get this, I don't get this, His Holiness is dashing through the empowerment. His Holiness is literally dashing through the empowerment. When people are saying, I do not get this, I do not get this, and many people, they cannot even hear what His Holiness is saying. Because the crowd is in noise, creating noise, because they are not getting the talk. Right? And His Holiness is dashing through, deliberately dashing through, so fast. Only like 20 or 30 people, they don't care about talk, they're only meditating, just following what His Holiness is saying. Only about 2 lakh, 3 lakh people, only about 20 or 30 people, they are focused there, following His instructions. They know what the instructions are, and they're receiving instructions so fast. And maybe about, like, say, maybe 80 people trying to follow, but maybe 20 people can follow instruction because he's rushing so fast. So, what about all these last few people? They got taught, they didn't get the empowerment. Right? They came for the sword, they didn't come for the empowerment. They didn't get empowerment. They got the sword. This is almost a smartness. Yes.
Avant déjà d'être entré dans le bouddhisme, c'est déjà très difficile, encore plus dans le tantrique. Et maintenant, je vois que le tantrique est beaucoup plus répandu. Est-ce que c'est parce que le monde est en feu? Est en feu, est en danger.
So Charles said that before he entered in Buddhism, Tantra was less common, and now it seems that it's spread everywhere. Does it mean that the world is because the world is in danger?
Okay, so we cannot really say, we can really comment on this. But the point is that people who, particularly I would say, those people who get the opportunity to meet with the very standard texts, like Acharya Dharmakirti's Pramanavartika, Acharya Chandrakirti's Madhyamagavatar, Aranigarjuna's Mula Madhyamakarika, and so forth. These people, you have to, first of all, you have to be a good example. You study this well, you must gain command over this, try to gain command over this, and then inspire others, encourage others to go to put them in the proper track. To put them in the proper track, that okay, don't jump to Tantra, go to us. For example, in Tibet House, Delhi, most of the very serious people, they don't go to empowerment and so forth. And I did not tell them. I didn't tell them, don't go. No, it's not by chance. Individuals, it depends on the individual. But they are very serious with what we are studying there, Buddha Madhyamaka text, Pramanavartika text, and then the Madhyamaka text, and the Buddhist psychology, logic. We study these things. And sometimes one or two persons who I see as eligible, I try to somehow give some kind of hint. It's good that you can go for this empowerment. They are so stubborn. Even those people who are really eligible, they are so stubborn. They said, no, we are not ready. Those who are not ready, they are very stubborn. Yes, I have to go. Yeah. Okay, so finally, what the world is, what is important is that in what way we can make contribution to the world. That is important. But in what way we can make contribution to the world is study this text well. And if you've already taken empowerment so far, it's fine. If you've already taken empowerment so far, fine. Try to stick to the commitments. And then, meanwhile, emphasize more on the study of the Bodhicitta emptiness. The more you study Bodhicitta emptiness, study, reflect, meditation, this will enrich your tantric practice. So this is what you can do. And those who have not yet taken empowerments yet, for you to take, say the Kriya, Charya, Action Tantra, Performance Tantra, empowerment, that's fine. It doesn't involve tantric vows. That's fine. You can take in the form of, say, in the form of blessings. That's fine. But not really the Hatha Tantra and the Yoga Tantra. Okay, so this is what we can do. Yeah. So with this, the point is there are techniques to activate the subject clear light, and then it's quite interesting to get objective clear light, to get the subject clear light. Many people, they find that to get the subject clear light, the method is easier, and because of which, the moment this method is taught, some of them actually practice this, and they say that literally they could feel so much of calmness in the mind. It is as though like they become intoxicated in this practice. Intoxicated. To the extent that if they are given a choice, emptiness or this subject, the activated subject clear light, for sure activated subject clear light. This is much more appealing to them. Emptiness is very complicated. It requires tremendous studies. Even with study, you cannot get the nuances. Okay, if this is what is happening, very unfortunate. This activity is subject to clairvoyance. It has many benefits. But without the emptiness, no way to be liberated from samsara. You are constantly, you continue to, without seeing emptiness, you continue to create the dream of conventionalities. What dreams? Because you activate the subject clairvoyant, you continue to create the pleasant dreams. Pleasant dreams. Still, you don't have the choice. You don't have the choice what dream you're going to have. So, the fact that you create the dream, that is samsara. You are never liberated from samsara, in other words. You are never liberated from samsara. Okay. With this, very quick, the 4 essentials. Not objective clairvoyant. 4 essentials. First, we enumerate what the 4 essentials are, then we'll stop here. 4 essentials. The first essential of identifying the object of negation. Essential of identifying the object of negation. Okay, connected with this. Okay, this is a digression, but it's very important. It's fine. I'd like to share this with you. Some people, they are talking about seeking root gurus or seeking gurus. This is a very important matter. This is a very important matter. And from my side, usually this is not what I touch. From my side, what I always tell people is, don't rush to look for gurus. Don't rush to look for gurus. But we are ordinary beings. Environment influences us so much. Environment, you go to this person, he's my root guru. You do, I have this root guru, she's my root guru, he's my root guru. All people, there's some root gurus. Right? Something's wrong with me, I don't know root guru. Right? Then you become excited. Right? And some, they directly come to you and say that, for you to really follow path, you must have a root guru. Then they activate even you more. Right? And then you deliberately, out of desperation, you decided, you are my root guru. Then you end up problem with the root guru. No hurry, no rush. Don't listen to what the world says. I'm saying this again. Only if His Holiness the Dalai Lama tells you, hey, you need to have root guru tomorrow, right? Then you go for it. Otherwise, no matter what other people say, just see whether these are His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the people who are telling you. If they are not His Holiness, then don't pay any heed to them, right? One. So if you really want, Guru, is that really important? For us at this stage, not at all important. Study well. The real Guru is the Bodhicitta Vishnu. Study well. For the time, study well. When you study well, at a certain point, you know what Bodhicitta is. You know what wisdom of emptiness is. You know what the whole panorama of the Buddha's teachings. You get this picture. Once you get this picture, you become very confident. From the hundreds of teachers, you can see that many of the teachers are not at all qualified as the teachers. You will see that. Although they are famed as teachers with this number of followers, so many followers, and so forth, but you know from your own experience of the knowledge and understanding, you will see that these people are not really qualified as teachers. From what they teach, you can see that. You will see that they are not really qualified. They have no experience of emptiness. They have no experience of compassion. And some, they just go for, they have ulterior motives. You can see that. So therefore, the best thing is study well. Don't pay any heed to anybody who's telling you, right? Even if all the hundreds of people, they have the root gurus. If you don't have, don't worry. No rush. No rush. The moment you seek something as root guru and then you have competition with the guru, no point. It's just creating so much of negative karma and you're going to have go through consequences. Better have. The Buddha said one thing. It is always best to go with a good companion. Number one. Number two, it is better to go by yourself rather than go with a bad companion. Let me say this again. it's always good to go with good companions. But it is better to go by yourself rather than with bad companions. Which means those people who said, you need a guru, these people are not really good companions. Just go by yourself. Study the text well. If what the Buddha said is correct, these books are the books are to justify what the Buddha says. These books, no danger. And the good books, the very standard books, the books His Holiness the Dalai advises. Don't just any book written by this author, that author. No, very standard books. For example, the books by Lama Tsongkhapa and so forth. Well, today we have His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The books by His Holiness. There are so many books by him, right? Okay, this is what we can do. No rush. Okay. So, this is one point. So therefore, no. The point is that no rush. But for example, like this kind of teaching, there's no problem. You can take these teachings as not as guru, now he's my guru, and so forth. So if you remember, early morning, every time, every session, I said that let us make prostrations together. Do you remember that? This for that reason, not for you to see me as your guru. This is very important. That the point is that you can study with somebody. There's no problem. Study. It doesn't mean that the person is your guru. Study well with that person, see the benefit, is fine. So at the most, the commitment is that have no aversion towards somebody from whom you have received some teachings. But not necessarily you have to take that person as your guru. This is very important, keep that in mind. Okay. Done. The next program, announcements.
So now we can gather around the stupa outside, and we will do some prayers for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the occasion of his 84th birthday. We'll also offer cake, do a group photo. And for the long life prayer, you can all bring your prayer books, and you will find prayer on page 257. Also, we have some maniples from His Holiness the Dalai Lama that were kindly offered by Daniel. And also, Geshe would like to offer to everybody.
This one from Maria.
Also, Maria kindly offered a postcard with the 17 Nalanda Masters for each one of us. And Venerable Geshe would like to offer also to each and every one of us a mala. So we can, before we go to the stupa, we can come one by one here to receive the gifts.
Okay.